We continue learning Dirshu Mishnah Brura, concluding this first Siman in Hilchais Betzias Hapas, Siman Kuf Samach Zayin. B'siyata Shemaya will continue with which pas you make the bracha on in the next year. Siman Kuf Samach Ches. But for now, we begin with Siman Kuf Samach Zayin Sif Tes Zayin. Says a Machaber Ina Boitzia Rash Lefsah Shich Lamein Mipia Roiva Oinim. Though he who is making the bracha cannot begin to cut the bread until the amen is uttered by the majority of the people answering. Says the Mishnah Berurah Sivkatan Peidalid Eina Boitzea Hainu Imu Moitzim Dechavasiv Bracha. If he's being moitzi them with the bracha, then he is not allowed to start cutting until most of them say amen. Says the Mishnah Berurah Sivkatan Pei Amen Mipi Roiv Shagam Anias Amen Bechlal Brachu. What's the reason? The reason is that the answering of the Amen is part of the bracha. But the few that are answering Amen too long, you have to wait for them. And this is an important rule, that you're not supposed to answer Amen longer than necessary. Says the Dirshu over here, note number 60, referencing that which everyone is thinking, which is what? About davening. There in Siman Kuf Chav and Daled, we said that the Shatz does not need to wait until on this miyot that's answering too long. He just has to wait for the majority of the people saying Amen. But says that the Dirshu, that's only when they don't need to hear the bracha. But if he's being moitzi a bracha of a chiyuv, whether he's a shatz or someone else being a varcha, then you have to wait for everyone. What would be a case? He doesn't give an example over here. I'm just thinking aloud. Maybe a case would be Mikra Megillah or Shaifer, where they're being yaitze, they're chiyav with your bracha. Then you would have to wait even for those who are not doing the right thing. They're doing the wrong thing. But you still have to wait for them. And we continue with Sif Yedzayin HaBoitzea, Poishin Yadot Tchila L'Kar Lechol. The Boitzea reaches out first to the plate to eat. If you want to give kavod to one that is greater than him, Rashai, he is allowed. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Baitzea Shehu Balabayis Sivkatan Beivav or Misha Nasan Lo Yirshus Lefsayat Techila. Paishay Sivkatan Beizayin the Kim Shachol Lo Kavod Levarich Techila, since they gave him the honor to make the bracha first. Lefsayat Tzia Mitzubin Roy Lechavdu Shiv Shiyad Lekar Techila. This is the next step, because he got the kavod of being the Baitzea. Therefore, he gets the honor to take first from the food. We continue with Sif Yirches, says the Machaber, Baitzea Noisin Prusel of Neikol Echad Ve'echad, of Neikol Echad, he gives a piece of bread to everyone. Ve'echad Noitel Prusel V'yadoi, Ve'ena Baitzea Noisin B'yad Oichal Amkein Aya Avel. You don't give bread into the hand of everyone else unless he is an Avel. Says the Ramah, Persasiyam B'yadeh, Remez the Prusa Amaitzi, Shas B'yadeh Shas Avelos. You only put the piece of bread in their hand at a time of Avelos. Says Mishnah Berurah, Sivkatan B'chasa Baitzea Noisin Aval. You don't throw bread. It's not get discussing like the zurika. You're throwing it onto the table. Still, you don't throw bread. And now there's two reasons, says Mishmur. Number one is it's bread. Number two is that it's a piece of a mitzvah. It's not maitzi. Unless he's an avel sekadim beitas b'Shabbos. Peiris avel kedarki does a regularly v'loya kavilas v'rasya imitzil abiyada. You don't put it in his hands. So really, the rule is you never place bread into someone's hands on Shabbos, and the avel you would give it to his hand during the week. Rabbi the Prusa Moitziv Kodan Sadi Mashma Din Roy Laskin Kisheina Yavel. Why? It's a liter mazal, and that's the reason why you don't do it when he's not an avel. You don't want to weaken his mazel. Says the Dirshu over here. First of all, note number 61 points out the Baal Bayis says the mitzvah to be baitzea, as we've learned, because he's baitzea by in Yafeh. Number two, with regard to the avel, this akbada, says Rav Vosner and Kavis Beitz Levi, is only on the Prusa Maitzi. But other pieces is not a problem. You're allowed to put it into his hand. It's dafka, the piece of bread from Hamaitzi. You don't give him hand to hand, as that is a sign of mourning. Continues the Machaber, Sivyates, Misha Eino Eichel in Yachla Varich Berch Zamaitzi Loitzi Eichel. Someone who is not eating cannot make the bracha to be mighty everyone else. Avalikatanim. Yachal Avarich Avvishin Eichli. Mike did Chancham mitzvahs. You're allowed to make a bracha with the ketanim in order to train them to do the mitzvahs. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Sivkatan Sadiyal Vin Yachal Avarich Afilu in Hashemeya. even if he cannot make the bracha himself, but he cannot make the bracha himself, still you should not do it if you're not eating with him. And we continue, Sivkata in the Sadi base, says the Mishnah Brura, Birchas HaMaitzi, Vu Adin, B'chol Birchas Ananim has the same halacha. Tidavka Birchas HaMaitzi, Yisrael Arevim Zela Zeh, Kasher Chaver, Lo Yati Dei HaMitzvah, V'kilu Lo Yatsa. If your friend isn't doing a mitzvah, if you're not doing a mitzvah, Mishamachi Yachal Ha'itzi, Avilu Kavar Yati Dei Mitzvah, even if you already did the mitzvah, you can make it for him. Masha'ein came in a regular Birchas Ananim. Sha'aval Bi Shein Chayval Ananim Levarich. Of course, everyone has a chiyuv to make the bracha. Why? Das Lenos Olam Hazeh B'loi Bracha. Kol Makam B'yadu Shalanis Levarich. Kol Makam. You don't have to have anan, therefore you want to make a bracha. Lafigach Oisa Shein Einan. If you're not getting anan, Ein Nikram B'chiv Bracha Zu. V'alik Mizim Kus That He's saying Dalid. Mishta Bruli Kaman Linin Birchas Ha Zayin. So the Mishnah Berurah here is learning that only by mitzvahs are you able to be yotzi someone else, but not to buy birchas ha'nanin. And this is the reason. Let's say Avdallah, for example, you could make for someone else even if you already were yotzi, because Kol Yisrael Arevim zeh lo zeh. We'll just point out Kiddush. You could also make, because it's a mitzvah. Kiddush Shabbos Day is a little bit of a shaila, because Kiddush Shabbos Day is a mitzvah, but it's a mitzvah in the form of Birchas Hananin, therefore it's not so simple. Sivkata and Sadi, Gimel, it's not so simple if you already were Yotzei, you're in the middle of drinking Hagafen. Avalei Ketana, if you look at Ketanim, Da'alma, Shenech Yunucham, Mutal Medina, a random kid, even if it's not your kid, Gam Kim Mutal Avarich, Imayim, you can make a bracha with them, Kisha writes in the Anais, they don't have to make the bracha themselves. The kol shekain, and certainly kisheim b'nei beisol, you don't have b'nei beisol nami loy. And we finish with Sif Katan, with Sif Chaf, Says the Machaber, afilu b'Shabbos hu chayav lachol pas, lo yavar lechaver birchas ha'moitzi min ha'oichel. On Shabbos, one would think, wait, the obligation to have bread. Still, says the Machaber, you cannot make the bracha of ha'moitzi for him. Lo shar levarch lacherim. The Kiddush, as we just spoke out, then you could make it for your friend Bein Shalayla, Bein Shel Yoim. So the Mishnah Berurah is going to discuss in a moment. Says the Ramav, eat that piece of bread first. You did a mitzvah on it, therefore you want to consume it appropriately. Said the Mishmur, shall call a shalish sudas av sheim chayv, ein a chayv Allah misham mitzvah. Al k'tei shehana misuda Shabbos. Ve'in la mitzvah atzma chayv, ta'im and a mimashem is aneh in tzarch lechol. There's no chiyuv to eat, it's a chiyuv to have enjoyment. Kisef seven reish v'ches al keini b'chlal shar brachas and therefore the hamaitzi is considered brachas and aval bi she'ino toyim sefkat and tzadiyei v'adin kishekvar kiyam mitzvah achila matzik var kiddush al yain. You already were mekadosh on a yain v'atam b'chol zed brachas kiddush achilas k'zayis matzu mechoy v'as ha-mitzvahs shechayv al adam ameila kol nechlasa b'zeh b'chlal arvos chanal v'odim blal alf tebeiz sukkah shechayv lachol k'zayis pas b'sukkah yachol gankin loitzi aval bi she'ino toyim b'atzu yisukah v'yotzi someone else. Bein shalayla, bein shalayom, sefkat tzadivav. Ti karoi nitkan rak lemitz of loy b'shul ana. V'alkein brachazui b'chal shar brachas ha-mitzvah the kaim l'navel b'she yatsa moitzi. I'll point out, and I remember Dirshu might discuss this, what I was mentioning is, of course, if I already make Kiddush, and I go somewhere else, and they want me to make Kiddush for them, then of course I could. The problem is, if I already make Kiddush, and I'm already in the middle of drinking Hagafen, and now I want to go and make Kiddush for someone else at that moment that I already made Hagafen, and the Kiddush Shabbos Day is just Hagafen, that's the scenario that I said is not so simple. Rav David Feinstein is very not happy that people do it. Lamaisa, there are those that are making like such. Sefkat said, Zayim called him, Kaz v'ashla, Shegam Yisharim and Abruzah Moitzi, my shows leave over a little bit, you can have it after you eat. You always want to have it similar to like the tam matzah beviv. You want to have the tam matzah beviv. In la'achla behema va'oiva lekutim ibrusa maitzi. Oy mechaticha shenagazu chaticha zamaitzi because it has a din of a chiba mitzvah. Hainu d'meosa brusa chatim mikodem elachem shalom chatika achach min oisa brusa lechaticha kitan la'maitzi. You cut off one piece and you cut off a smaller piece for your amaitzi. Gam oisa brusa even the larger piece. Lo yachilim shein kavod. But zeh mitzvah it's not kavod for the mitzvah. And we'll continue and we'll conclude, I should say, over here, Dirshu number 67. Says Dirshu regarding Kiddush to be a motzi, a baki with the din of Arvis. We're going to see in Reish and Gimel, it's Machlik Zapais, and Beisisi says, if they know how to make Kiddush themselves, then you cannot be motzi them. According to Bri Chadash, you could be motzi them. Similar to Chaim says you have to be motzi them in all scenarios, but rather Chatzchila is always a Chatzchila to make Kiddush yourself, and of course, Kivin Shubaki v'chayra moitzi inu yotzi ata b'kiddush, says v'halacha, that is the halacha. Regarding shofar, as we have seen, and we will stop over here. There's note number 68, that's what I was referring to. We're going to see in Reisha and Gimel and Mirza Hashem, Birchas HaMazon, says the halacha, the Mazamin is able to make the bracha, give someone else to drink. Why? Because it's mitzvah min ha-movchar. Therefore, it's considered a Birchas HaMitzvah, Avabi Sheyatza Maitzi, and therefore you can give someone else to drink it. We'll pick it up from Siman Kuf Samachas in the next year, B'siyata Dishmaya.